Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Dave. Welcome to Aeroid District. In this video, we are going to step into my world of Monstera. Now that means I'm going to show you different Monstera species in my collection. I may have to do maintenance on a couple of them, but more so importantly, I want to take a big Monstera like this and put it inside my new aquarium. How about that? Come on, a big ass Monstera like this growing inside of an aquarium, I think that'd be cool. So let's see what happens. Stay tuned. So Monstera Thai constellation. This plant is not doing too good. You got these two leaves facing out front, and the newest leaf is facing the opposite direction. And I promise you, I've done all I can with this plant. You know, over the winter, I placed it near a window where it was getting that south-facing sunlight. I was careful not to water it too much, being that the weather was cold, and I'm starting to get crispy tips. And this new leaf, I don't know what to say about it, but I know what I want to do with this plant. Like, I'm about to cut it, all right? It's gonna have to happen because I really think the roots in this pot are rotted. I think that the roots have rotted, and I think that's what's turning these leaves brown. And we get like, normally my Monstera does not put out brown tips on the variegated portions. So I don't know, all hell broke loose this winter when it comes to this plant. And you know, on camera it don't even look that bad, but I promise you, like, this plant is not healthy. Something is going on. So I'm about to dump this plant out of this pot, and we gonna see what's up. Yo, I was 100% wrong. None of the roots have rotted on this plant. The path cow has been doing this plant some good because yeah, the roots actually look healthy to my surprise. What am I gonna do now? You know what? Nope, I'm still gonna cut it. Like, the roots look fine. So I did a video called How I Saved My Monstera. Everything about that video still applies because this is the update. The roots are looking pretty good on this plant, even though it went through a straight snowstorm. Like, it's been cold during the winter out here in Georgia. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still cutting it though. Wow. Okay, listen to me. I know what I'm doing on this, okay? Y'all might gonna be mad because I'm definitely cutting this plant, but this is the newest leaf right here. You see how variegated that is? Right here on the growing eye, if you can see that, this whole thing is variegated. So I think the new leaf should come out something like this, provided that I give it some warmth. I know the temperature has made a difference when it comes to the variegation on this plant. Like, soon as it got hot, it put out a nice creme brulee style leaf. You feel me? So I think temperature plays a part in the Monstera Thai constellation. It's always gonna have a variegation because it's within the DNA, but the temperature actually brings it out. This growing eye has a lot, this whole sheath right here where the new leaf is about to come out, it has a lot of variegation. I do not like these two leaves hanging down like this one, and this one just sticking up the opposite direction. So that's what I'm really trying to correct right here. So yeah, how much should I cut? Let me just go ahead and do it. Forget it. I always do what I want to do, y'all. Now let's get this little root. All right, so I cut a little bit of that root system off. This is what I'm left with. And I only want this leaf here. These two leaves can go, so we can start peeling that off too. All right, I'm about to pot this up right here. Okay, so we somewhat gave this Tycon a new start. I repotted it, and if you watch that How I Saved My Tycon video that I did, remember that path cow was the secret ingredient that prevented the root rot on this Tycon. So this is one of those older batches of the Tycon where it is subject to root rot very easily. So I just kept the same path cow. I kept that same soil that it was already in. I just freshened it up a little bit. I added more perlite, leca, pea pebbles, and some slow release fertilizer. And I mixed that into the old substrate that this was already in, and I potted it up. This plant definitely had an adequate root system for just this one leaf. So I think we are good to go when it comes to that. So Monstera Thai constellation. Monstera Lechleriana, that is the name. But, ugh, look at my face. My issue with this plant is it is not being all that it can be. Let me throw in a picture. This Monstera is supposed to do very great things. It's supposed to do great things, but it is so difficult to get this plant to fenestrate. You know, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Look, I got it on a pole. Like, these poles like do good. I got, you know, sphagnum moss and chunky material within this little put together pole, and it's been climbing up. It's rooted inside the pole, but we are not getting fenestrated leaves. Now, my excitement for this plant is that it gets like a big leaf and the holes are close to the center of the leaf. It's not as fenestrated as a Adansonii. Adansonii, you get these very big holes and it's like a little bit of leaf. This one is a big leaf and the holes are just close to the center rib of the leaf, if you understand what I'm saying. The picture should show you what I'm talking about. So I guess my plan now with this plant is like, I cannot cut it. I cannot cut it. I'm gonna get another pole and extend it, and I'm gonna have it growing up into that extended pole. And once we start getting like a couple fenestrated leaves, then I will cut it. Because I've learned something. Once the plant fenestrates, it already has that, it actually can memorize the fact that it fenestrated. So if you make a propagation, it will continue to fenestrate or fenestrate shortly after it gets established. That's a lot of information, but somebody out there understands what I'm talking about. Once that fenestration is in the plant's memory, it knows how to put out those same type of leaves. Again, after you cut it. Nothing to see here. This is just a Monstera mint. And I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed by these Monstera mints. Now, the reason why I bought this because it was a cheap tissue culture. It came out of a little tube, tissue culture tube, and I put it in this cup. And it ain't much to see. But I think it's starting to grow because it's starting to get these little droplets at the edge of the leaf or whatever. So I think the roots are starting to establish and I could actually start taking it outside of this dome. I'm not a big fan of these Monstera mints and all of these special Monstera. Some of them are just not for me. They're not my style, and maybe that will change. My opinion might change on them. So that's the reason why I got this one, because it was actually affordable. So you can go out there and get you a Monstera mint tissue culture. There's a lot of great sellers that have them, and see how you like it. Because right now, babysitting this little thing is not gonna work for me. So you better start growing leaves shortly, or else I'll move on with my life. Now this here is not a Monstera, but it is very closely related. This is the Rhaphidophora tetrasperma variegated. I'm a big fan of this plant because it grows fast. Now this is a cutting, and I got it started on this branch. Yeah, I know I pick up sticks outside. I picked up that stick, put it in a pot. Oh, mind you, I pick up sticks and I do spray some epoxy on the base because I don't want it to rot inside of the pot. Sometimes I don't mention that, but as soon as I collect the stick, whenever I get the time, I go out in the backyard, spray it down, and leave it in my garage. So when I get ready to use it, they are good to go. So I don't think this one is gonna rot. None of them have rotted so far. and I use that instead of a moss pole. But this one has like really cool variegation, and it looks just like a Monstera. This is like a miniature Monstera, but it has a very good variegation on it. So these are affordable right now as well. So if you want something that's not gonna get out of control, something a little bit easier than all of those fancy Monstera Deliciosas and Variegated that are variegated, this is a good option. And it grows in a nice, neat pattern. Y'all know the tetrasperma stays in like a vining form, and it can get quite a bit bigger than this, but it stays nice and vining. It doesn't shoot all over the place and have long stems. So I highly recommend this one. But I got one important tip about this plant, and it applies to a lot of the variegated Monstera as well. So I find that these plants do not like very high humidity. That sounds crazy, right? They do not like. I tried it over and over again. I've experimented. If you put this plant in high humidity, it will grow, but what will happen is the variegated portions will melt. All of that white will quickly turn brown when you have high humidity. Every time I stick this plant into ambient air, the white portions stay nice and healthy looking. So this plant does not require high humidity. You can grow this in your living room in ambient air and temperatures, and it'll be just fine. As soon as I try to treat this plant to a nice, balmy, high humidity environment, we start to get the melting white portions. So if anybody else has experienced that, leave a comment below. But overall, highly recommend this one. So this is a moss pole, and this is a Monstera Siltepecana. I challenge everybody out there to get a cheap Monstera Siltepecana. You can find them everywhere, and try to grow them up a pole. Everybody has been taking like the pothos, mainly like the pothos, marble queen. They've been growing them up a pole, and it looks amazing. I thought I'd do something just a little bit different and try to do that with the Monstera Siltepecana. I want those big leaves that got the silver on it. You feel me? And I really think that this plant is gonna size up, because I have another Siltepecana that start putting out big leaves, and it's actually hanging in a hanging pot. So I figured that I'd do this right, and I think we're gonna have some good developments this come spring and summer. So I got it started right. I guess my advice would be like, start off a well established cutting that doesn't have so much roots. Put it in the pot and get it on a pole immediately. You want those roots to start going inside this type of a moss pole, whatever moss pole you use, as soon as possible, and I think the leaves will start to size up. That's my challenge. Y'all get you a Siltepecana. But hold up, let me show you the other Siltepecana I have, just so you know what I'm talking about. So this is one of them little basic bust downs from Home Depot, Siltepecana. But it actually grows really big leaves hanging. Let's compare it to this one I purchased as in El Salvador, but I don't think it is the El Salvador. I don't care, it was cheap. This one I got for like 20 bucks, Home Depot. And as you can see, some of these leaves are really big in comparison to this one. So you can find you one of these anywhere. And I say start growing it up a pole and see if you can get some really large leaves. I think it'll be cool. And the treat at the end is that this plant actually fenestrates. So you will start getting holes in these leaves once they get big. I've experienced that when I had this growing in my backyard. I had it growing up the wall in the backyard, and the leaves started to fenestrate. So this is a cool plant. I stopped hating on it. I know it's basic, but sometimes you gotta do fancy things to basic things, and then you might like it. Siltepecana. Okay, what is the most popular Monstera out there? We all know it is the Monstera Deliciosa. So let me give you my take on how to shop for a good Monstera Deliciosa. When you go to the big box stores, they are normally fully stocked with Monstera. It's a lot of them. But go over to the section that has a lot of medium-sized Monstera because that's where you get the best bang for your buck. They are normally $20 to $30 for the medium size. And what you're looking for is large, thick stem with already split leaves. If it is medium size, it should already have split leaves. Now, they mix in the Variegated with the large form, so you're looking for those split leaves with a thick stem. These normally have multiple shoots in one pot, so you get a lot of plant for that size. That's why I say buy the medium size. Now, if your plant has a lot of solid leaves, it might be the Variegated, and you don't want to run that risk if that's not what you want, because you will get a leggy, thin plant. Now, this is an example of a plant that I would not buy. These are large leaves that are fully solid, and some of these stems are quite thin. So I wouldn't run the risk of getting this one because I'm not sure which one this is. On the bright side, I was looking around and I stumbled upon a Monstera Thai constellation. Now, I always heard that these were about $50 to $100 in the big box stores, but lo and behold, it was only 20 bucks for this one. It was the only one there. They probably had better ones before everybody bought them up, but I thought I'd grab it even though I don't need it. All right, this is my Monstera Deliciosa that I purchased from Home Depot. I knew it was the large form Deliciosa because when I purchased it, one of these two were the largest leaves. Just like what we've seen before, this plant had 3 different shoots in the one pot. Purchased it for $25. I separated all of the shoots out. This was the largest one that I separated, so I decided to put it here. So it's being powered by these Sensi LED lights. By the way, this room has changed a lot, and that's for another video. But yeah, I have this Sensi LED light, and I have that on a timer. So I let those run for 12 hours a day, cuts itself off, and very low maintenance. Large form Deliciosa has been sitting right here. It has put out this leaf here. We have one secondary fenestration and also that. So I have it set up in this room, and I feel like it's gonna travel up this wall and get close to this painting. But I'm gonna let it go as high as the lights are. If it gets up here to the lights, I will take like a top cut and put it back in the pot. That's how I'm gonna maintain that, because Monstera Deliciosas will get out of control if you let it. It'll be aerial roots all across this wall. So that's the only maintenance that I have to do. But overall, it's a very easy plant. When it comes to watering, I let it dry all the way out, and then I just take it outside or to the sink and drench it down. Simple as that. Let it dry all the way and then soak it. So when it comes to the others that I separated, let's talk about one of them, because that's the one that I want to do the project with. So y'all do know that you can grow a Monstera Deliciosa in nothing but water, right? Check this one out. So this is one of the shoots that I pulled out of that pot that I got from Home Depot. After I separated the plant into 2 or 3 different pieces, I decided to put this one in water, and it has been growing perfectly fine. What I did was, when I separated it, I trimmed the roots, washed them real good, trimmed them, and I sat it in this, ooh, I don't want to break this, a big globe of water. It's like a glass vase jar full of water. This is what it looks like. I got this from Hobby Lobby, and it was like 50% off, so I got it for really cheap. And I had my Monstera sitting in here for about 3 months, since, you know, when I first got the plant, brought it home, separated it, cleaned off those roots, trimmed them up, put it in water. Nothing has happened. Nothing bad has happened. The plant even started to grow. It put out this long leaf because I had it in low light, and then it put out this leaf because it was all, you know, this one grew in low light as well. But you already know I'm trying to put this into an aquarium So looking at these roots and looking at how this plant has kind of contorted, sitting in that water. It's been sitting in that bowl, and it started to curve upwards towards the light. And that's not gonna be very good for how I sit this plant inside the aquarium. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna have to trim the roots, probably trim some of the stem. And I'm not gonna worry because you can really go a little bit aggressive trimming roots if the Monstera is sitting in water. Okay, y'all, so y'all can see what's going on. I'm gonna pull up. So you see how this is curved, it's growing vertically, and then it started to grow up. I think I am gonna have to cut right through here. Let's just get to it. I'm not afraid to go aggressive. At least that's what I'm telling myself. So right in between here, I got these big scissors. Let's see if it'll cut through. Got it. Now that we got this three, look at the roots. I think this would be easy to work with as far as sticking it inside of an aquarium. Now I want to get on to this big project. Well, at least it's big for me. I'm taking a Monstera Deliciosa, putting it in an aquarium. So let's get into that. All right, just to make this quick, I got an aquarium kit from PetSmart. It has all the features that I need. It was a good value for the money. Next, I got black lava rocks, and I formed like a cave-like structure with super glue and cotton in between the little cracks. This is where we're at now. I got some driftwood online and super glued that to the cave-like structure. Then I got me some aquarium plants to put in here. This is an Anubias, and it's actually an aeroid from West Africa, and it is an underwater aeroid. Did you know they had those? If you go to Home Depot, they actually have plants growing in water already, so you can get jump started with just those. Okay, so just because my aquarium is focused a little bit more on plants rather than the actual aquarium stuff, I want my aquarium to be a lot more like a pond rather than that under the sea type vibe, you know? So I made these little zip tie joints. They don't look that great, but they work for what I'm trying to do. I closed them up as big or as little as I want, and then I just super glued them to the rim. But I felt like that was a good, discreet, and cheap way to contain the riparian plants. Are they called riparian? You know what I'm talking about, where the roots are in the water, but the foliage sticks out? Whatever that's called, I wanted it to be discreet, because if you kind of look from this view, you can't see it. You can't see those plastic zip ties on the rim. So I got a new fish for the aquarium, and his name is DJ Mustard. So DJ Mustard is a beta, also known as a fighting fish. They call it the mustard gas form because he has these long yellow fins that look like the mustard gas from World War I. And you know, I'm just happy that I was able to rescue him from that small little cup they be having in the pet store, because when I got him home, he was very lethargic and his color wasn't that great. As soon as he got in here, he just perked right up. He shows a lot of personality, and he explores everything within this tank. So let me reveal to you how the tank looks. Okay, so I'm gonna call this aquascape Camp Creek, because that is the creek that is right behind my house. Yeah, Camp Creek, that's where we at. Well-known creek and name of a street around this area. Let's move on to the plants. This is the Aglaonema silverstone. It has a bunch of different names. In the back, we have parlor palms. And this one is the lemon lime Maranta. And in the center, we have my Monstera Deliciosa. Now this Monstera, y'all remember I cut it. So the cutting kept falling forward. So what I did was, you know, I super glued some Velcro to the back of this aquarium just to hold it up. You know, I did what I had to do. Like, you know, may not be the best looking option, but it doesn't bother me for now. But yeah, Camp Creek is set up. I like the way it looks. I feel like the roots of all of these plants are the main feature. Now, I can aquascape on a professional level. I have a lot of experience with that, but this is more so what I wanted, something simple. And I wanted those roots to be a feature because they are very beneficial to the animals and to the water. Now, everything in here is alive or was once alive. You know, I have some leaf litter down there. These are the aquatic aeroids right here. We have Java fern and we have some tall grass that's still trying to acclimate. And the substrate is, what is that? That's just gravel mixed with Aqueon aquatic soil pellets. Looks like mini leca if you ask me. But Camp Creek has been going strong for the past month and everything is starting to acclimate. So I'm happy with how that came out. And I think this Monstera Deliciosa is gonna grow just fine. As far as the lighting above, I mounted that light with one of those, you know, one of those sticks that you screw into the wall, and it stuck out far enough for this setup. And that is a Sansi quadra head, like LED bulb that can provide light to these plants that are coming out of the aquarium. So I'm happy with that setup. And what will happen is, if this Monstera keeps growing higher and higher, I can adjust that one, this light, to go higher. And once it reaches the light, then I'll make a top cut and start it all over back in the aquarium. So I feel like it's sustainable and I'm liking the way it looks. Y'all let me know what you think. All right, I'm out of here, y'all. Like, I apologize for the long interval before putting out content, but I got a lot going on. Like, I am trying to start a new business. I have my career job, and I'm trying to be a little bit more social. You know, I am new in this town, and I got to get out there and try to meet valuable friends, you know, and that doesn't happen unless you actually go places when people invite you, you know. You got to get from behind that desk, put on some clothes, and get out that door, and just get out there, because it does get a lot harder to meet friends when you get past 30. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. But you know, yeah, I'm chasing my dreams and putting in a lot of work, and that's all that's happening, but I am all right. But I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.